Yo, 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 what is up? We are back. This is No Border Sports. This is supposed to be an NWO show, but as so things would have it, everybody can't make it for so much at the moment. We got one guy who's taking a little break from everything. We got one guy who's out doing errands, and we got another guy who is cleaning up a mess. So here we are. I'm here, and you're here. And we are here together. So I want to thank you all for joining. Shout out to everybody. I broke my rib about, I don't know, let's see, 3:30 or no, 2:30 in this afternoon. So I don't know. I got like not feeling good. So we'll see how things go. Let's take a look at the comments real quick. Nobody yet. We've got some things to talk about today. Guess we'll start with Brock Purdy's brace. So one thing that I can't remember where I heard this, but they were talking about how Brock Purdy wears his brace out in public, essentially. But when he's at home, he's not wearing his brace. Kind of give him a little bit more movement because he can also do exercises and whatnot. Or not exercise, but like movement drills and whatnot, because he's trying to get his range of motion back. He said before it was stuck at a 90-degree, and now they're slowly opening it up for him. I think that just means that while he's out in public, they don't want it being forcibly opened past a certain degree, which totally makes sense. You don't want to mess up anything. But it seems like there's times at home where, obviously, if he's not wearing that all the time at home, there's potential times where there could be re-injury. And that's not something I'm saying is going to happen. Okay, I'm just saying, hey, if there was like a, what do you call it? A setback. One of those setbacks could be something happening to his arm when his brace wasn't on and it hurting and causing it to have to take longer to heal. So that's probably one of the reasons why people are also saying, like 6 to 8 months, not only do things heal, but there's a chance that you can slightly injure it again, causing damage that has to be re-healed. So like a rib. So here we are. I want to give a shout out. Oh, what up, Nathan? Oh, hope I'm okay. Yeah, well, I'll figure it out, bro. Sleeping, I'm sure, is gonna suck. I have to figure something out, but we'll get through it. First time I ever had a broken rib. It's not like it's the worst thing ever. It sucks, but I'll live. I think we can all live. Well, I wanted to save that to some of the guys got here, but two of the guys ain't coming, and hopefully we get Bashar. Albert Beer reported that essentially the thing with Trey Lance and the 49ers and Brock Purdy is what he's hearing is that the 49ers don't feel they have the time to let Brock or Trey go through any growing pains. That if Brock was healthy, they would just go with him because he's got the best chance for them to win, and they don't care about the draft capital they gave up for him, which I understand that philosophy. But at the same time, like, who's making these decisions all willy-nilly and deciding to just go for people who is going to be a project to then turn around and then decide we don't want a project? Like, from here on out, don't ever look at another project ever again. If you're 49ers management, I don't want you talking about, oh, he's a project. Shut up. You don't have any time or capacity to really stick with somebody as far as a project goes in any key role. So Like, I don't care if you get if they get a 7th round defensive tackle and say he's a project. That's cool. He can stay on the practice squad and be, and be there until he can play. You're not. What up, Raphael? Oh, here we go. Look at you. Shout out, like, and subscribe. Yes, that is right. Anybody watching this after the viewing, please, there's channels in the description. If you go out and you subscribe to those channels, please. These are all members of the show. They're not here right now, but normally they are. Please go out, subscribe to their channel, and pop in from time to time and see what they're doing. Hit the like button for them. It would be much appreciated. What up, Bryant? Oh, here we go. You all good, Bashar? Okay. What up, bruh?
What's up, man? My bad. I didn't know that I was leaving you hanging like that. I thought Beto would at least be here or somebody.
No, he's running errands.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I would have came out a lot sooner. Just some crap fell, and it was just a big mess. And here I am. So.
Crap falling. Shit, I was the crap falling earlier. Busted my rib. I was going down the stairs and my foot went out from underneath me. I felt awkward on my rib, heard a pop, and then all of a sudden I couldn't breathe. Got the wind knocked out of me at the same time. It was great.
Well, damn, that sucks.
Yep. So we having a good day, but we got through it. Real quick, I haven't gotten into much. 1 second. Did you hear anything about how Brock Purdy uses his brace only in the public?
No, did not.
Yeah, he's pretty much.
That was all I saw.
Yep. So pretty much that's just on when he's out and about, or I'm sure if he's doing anything that like could be risky. You know what I mean? So just to make sure. But there's times where things could get messed up, which I'm not saying he needs to wear that 100% of the time, but I do think that you kind of gotta not just wear that out in public. Like anytime you're not just sitting on the couch, you know what I'm saying, and not moving, I would be wearing that for a little bit, except for when maybe I'm doing like exercises or like range of motion type stuff. What's your thoughts?
I don't know why my camera froze for a second. I was like, wait, what's going on here? Yeah, I mean, when you're walking around the house and you may, like you said, how you felt today or whatever, or things like that happen to people doing normal everyday things. So I'd say wear it all the time just in case, especially if you're a professional athlete and your body is your moneymaker. So, yeah, I think that would make a whole lot more sense than just wear it when you're out in public.
I'm not going down the stairs in socks again. I'm just saying. I might not be able to put socks on for a little bit. So did you watch the JT O'Sullivan video? I
saw that there was some link of JT O'Sullivan talking to, I believe he was talking about Kyle Shanahan. Is that what I'm saying? If I'm not mistaken?
That would be, yes. I
missed that. I just saw the thumbnail for it though.
He did oh, you should have seen it. I think you would have really appreciated it. After I watched his breakdown of the Brock Purdy injury in that clip. Oh, shout out. If anybody wants to go and watch that video later, it's in the description. So you can always come back and watch it. It's a 30-minute video. He plays as himself, interviewing himself, but dressed as Kyle Shanahan. You ask him about nepotism, but I like going through it and watching his breakdown of it. Tyler Kroft actually did a pretty dang good job trying to block Reddick. It's just, he's not the guy to do it. You know what I mean? Like he hung on for a good 2.5 seconds, 3 seconds, and that's probably a second and a half. Well, probably a second longer than he should have. You know what I mean? He's undersized. He, that's not his forte. I think he did a pretty good job at that point in time. But JT O'Sullivan came through and he pretty much broke down how Kyle's scheme is kind of at fault. It's like around every corner, he's trying to skimp somewhere as to make it sell out something else, it seems. That's what the gist I got from what he was trying to say about most of these things. And it was like, Kyle, if you just did, a little common sense thing here, things wouldn't have gone wrong. So I suggest everybody after this show go and watch it. It's really really informative. But yeah, he was saying how, what was it, on the injury where Jimmy got hurt, you had Christian McCaffrey and you had Debo in the backfield. Okay, so it was a cover zero blitz. So you got 6 guys coming free on the line, or 6 guys coming, 1 guy's coming free on the line because you can't block all of them, right? So what he was showing shows Christian McCaffrey coming out of the backfield, and he knows exactly what route he's supposed to run. And then you got Debo coming out of the backfield, and he's running a route like a wide receiver would run out of the backfield. He's not running out, how he explained it. He's not running out looking for the hot out. So like he's turning up field, and by the time Jimmy realized where the pressure's coming from, Debo needs to be turned around and giving Jimmy an out, and he's not. He's facing forward, running upfield. So like JT O'Sullivan's saying, like, hey, like if you're gonna have these guys in the backfield, you know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with having Debo in the backfield. If you're gonna have these guys in the backfield, make sure they know the responsibilities on certain things like that, because that could have been the difference between Jimmy just dumping the ball and the guy not even being able to touch him, and Jimmy getting hurt. Is just being able to, your receiver, to know you could throw the ball to him. And Jimmy is like stuck. If you look at it, he's stuck because he knows what he's supposed to do, he can't. And it's like he knows there's no other option. And he's stuck, like hoping that it's gonna just magically appear, and it never does. And so like I could totally see that, because he can't like reverse field and go to Christian McCaffrey at this point, because that's where the pressure wasn't coming from. So there's somebody to really, cover him over there. You need to throw it to the side of the pressure where the pressure is coming from, because that pressure is what's going to give you that completion. And Debo didn't know what to do in that situation.
Yeah, I actually went back and watched the. I was watching it on my phone because whenever I open something on my browser tab, my camera freezes. Whatever. I was actually watching the play where Jimmy got sacked or was about to get sacked and he got injured basically. And the guy, basically Trent Williams had some guy directly above him, so that's who Trent Williams was blocking. And I'm not sure if it was Jalen Phillips that was right next to them, but there was basically somebody right next to them that came completely free. Well, and then they disguised the blitz where somebody was supposed to blitz inside, but then he backed off in coverage. Yeah. And Brunskill was just sitting there not blocking anybody.
And Aaron Banks didn't know who to block. And it shows Trent Williams like push him into his guy a little bit. Like, that's your dude. This is my dude. So like there was confusion on the line, which is understandable. But at the same time, like if Debo knew what to do in that situation, the outcome wouldn't have happened like that. We probably wouldn't have seen Brock that day. I don't think.
Maybe, I'm not sure how the play was written out. I mean, maybe I guess what JT O'Sullivan may be saying is that in those type of situations, at least have one route where it's a quick option, a quick throw underneath just in case, shit hits the fan, so to speak. Was that what he's saying? I mean,
well, it's for both backs in the backfield. So when you got a cover 0 blitz like that, and they're rushing 6, both of them need to kind of go out and then go flat, and not get upfield, but go flat, so you can kind of throw to them. And it's just an easier throw because there's not as much coverage because somebody's going to have to come down to get them. So it's more space if they kind of catch it behind the line and then turn upfield. You know what I mean? So it's like running your route right off the butt of the tackle when he's in his stance at the start of the snap. You just kind of run up and then go off to the side like that. And then you need to be looking inside back at the quarterback, catch the ball, and then you turn upfield. So that's what he's saying. He's saying both the running backs, and if you look, Christian McCaffrey does exactly what Debo should have done. Except the thing is the pressure wasn't coming from McCaffrey's side. So therefore that means
Was he showing on all 22? Because I didn't get that angle of the play. All I got was just a TV angle.
I think it was the all 22. But you can see it. I don't remember what version it was, off the top of my head. I just remember you see Christian McCaffrey. He actually, before the snap of the play, starts scooting out to the side. He comes up a little bit and then turns and flattens out towards the sideline and then tries to go open. But like I said, if the pressure's not coming from that side, Christian McCaffrey is quote unquote covered because there's somebody for him. You know what I mean? The side that the pressure's coming off of is the side where you're going to get the guy who's actually open. But Debo went immediately upfield and got engaged with the guy essentially because he entered his zone instead of just cutting out left and flattening out. But yeah, that was a good video. He hit him for nepotism. Was like, hey, how is this not nepotism?
So what up? So he's like, what? You became a head coach because of your dad? Is that what he was saying? I don't get it.
Oh yeah, like he breaks it down. He's like, so yeah, I know your dad didn't get you into your start in the league, but he's also the reason why you got your start in the league. You know what I mean? Like he drops. He's like, you were a ball boy. You were this or that. He called the NFL the nepotism football league or the nepotism something. Yeah, something like that. But N for nepotism. I guess that's something they say behind the scenes, I guess. Or I don't know. That could have been some of his humor, but I'm sure that is the case because we have a lot of people. He was talking about the quarterback or the quality control room in the Washington Commanders team was just like nepotism central because you had like everybody's grandson in that room. You had Sean McVay, you know what I mean? You had McDaniels. You had all that. It was just nepotism central. So he brought that up, which I think is great.
You're saying Mike McDaniels has some lineage or something? I didn't know that.
What's up?
You said McDaniels. So we're talking about the coach of the Dolphins, right?
No, Mike McDaniels, or you know what I'm saying? Am I messing up names right now?
I'm messing up the name of
LaFleur.
LaFleur. Okay.
There we go. Okay. But yeah, so I thought that was really good. He said CMC steps per second is fun stat that allows his cuts. Yes, but the one thing I see from him, like people talk about like, oh, we can do the outside zone with him. No, not really. He can run it, but he's always looking to cut back before the edge, before he gets to the edge, before he gets outside of the farthest wide receiver. He's always looking to cut it back because he doesn't have the speed to get to the edge and turn it. And that's how like That's how Raheem Mostert got 10 yards a clip every time. It's because he was able to get the edge, to get to the edge before anybody was there and turn up field. And the moment you get to the edge and turn up field, like every step you take, it just screws up everybody's line to like their intercept target, their path, intercept path. So like that's why it makes things dangerous. And if you've got people who know that he's coming out there and they're trying to make sure they guess where he's going to be, you know what I mean? Then it's easier for him to get to the edge because they're playing soft, trying to hit you at the right at the edge and trying to make sure they can tackle you a couple yards after you've hit it. And that just kind of secures you to be able to get to the edge even more. And then if one more cutback, over. So
as far as the outside zone goes, there's a running back that we could probably get maybe round 5 or 6. Maybe, I don't know. It all depends on how the draft board goes when it comes to running backs in this year's draft. There's a running back coming out of Pittsburgh named, I'm not sure if you've seen him or not, Israel Abinakanda.
I have not.
I can type his name in the private chat if you want. But yeah, if you ever get a chance, pull up his film because he will definitely bring back that aspect to our offense in terms of running the outside zone, run those Mostert type plays, so to speak. And it would just be amazing to have that luxury with off the bench when you dispel CMC, so to speak.
Yeah, I think the reason why we haven't been able to run that effectively is just because we don't have a back that can get there to the edge in time. And I think CMC is wonderful, and what he brings to the table is awesome. But he's not Raheem Mostert when it comes to outside zone. And I'm not saying he has to be. I'm just saying if you're talking about outside zone, like that's not his thing for the most part. Like he's really good every other part of the field. You know what I mean? Just getting to that edge, he doesn't have the speed.
I always thought he had the best speed that we've had since Mostert, though, in terms of the running backs. I mean,
yes, but that just shows you how far ahead Mostert was with his speed. In fact, I don't think I'm gonna share that in the chat with everybody, that guy's name, so they can check him out. Yeah, we haven't been able to get there since Mostert. I think, like think about it. We moved on from Eric or DeForest Buckner because we needed somebody who could stop the run. And we went with Eric Armstead. And that's because we needed somebody who could stop the run in a wide 9-4-3 defense. And so I don't know. Like the question here, are the 49ers looking to change up their run scheme? If we don't get this guy, I think if we don't get a guy like you're talking about who can run that system, I don't see us being able to I'm sorry. It's hard for me to think. I don't see us being able to keep that in our scheme as consistently as we've had it before, because it was our bread and butter. And if we can't use it consistently, all we're doing is just wasting a play to try and set up play action. You know what I mean? Multiple plays.
There's another running back coming out too. I don't know. I don't think we get this guy. This guy's actually really small. His name is Deuce Vaughn. He's from Kansas State. He'll probably be available around the same time the draft. He's got a really tiny body though. He's like, I know he's only 5'6". He's like a Darren Sproles type. Darren Sproles type. 5'5", 176, and amazing receiver out of the backfield, amazing runner out of the backfield. But I don't think he's gonna be breaking tackles. He's not going to block anybody. Now Israel Abinakanda that I mentioned that could help us. These are two guys that we could add to our running game that would help bring that outside zone scheme back, you could say. And Israel Abinakanda is actually about 210 from what I understand. He's a bigger body, but he's just explosive. So he's more of what Shanahan would bring in. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see if we. I think you were talking about Grant Cohn, right? About the offensive line and if we might change our scheme up. Wasn't that what you guys were talking about? And I'm not sure what we're gonna do with right tackle. I know Grant Cohn had a big thing. He had a pretty good video where he was talking about what the 49ers need at right tackle, and I just don't get the 49ers philosophy when it comes to right tackle. It's like why have this lopsided mentality? I mean, I'm under the impression that we have Trent Williams on the left side, and we can do everything we want in our offense with Trent Williams on the left side in terms of the run game. And obviously, he's a great pass blocker or whatever. But why not try to emulate and duplicate what you have on the left side to the right side? But instead, it's like they have this different philosophy for the right side. I don't get it, man. It's kind of weird. It's like what they need for the right side is just a weaker right tackle that can fit this particular scheme. You know, I don't know.
I want to give a shout out to Darwin's Raven here. He does a show with my buddy Joe Stevens.
Okay, that's who that is.
Yeah, in about 3 minutes. We haven't actually met, but Joe thinks the world of him, thinks he's a great dude. From what I've seen on the streams, great dude. So if you would, please go make sure you go follow him.
Shout out to Darwin. Darwin's Ravens in the house.
In your opinion, what is the Niners' #1 draft need position-wise? I'll let you go with that.
Well, I was just talking about right tackle. I'd say I think right tackle for the 49ers is a bit thin in this draft, and it's a bit more. So in that case, it's a bit more of a need. Whereas, not that it's an amazing pass rusher draft, but I think it's a pretty good pass rusher draft. So in that regard, they probably trade up to get a right tackle if they are going to trade up. Maybe they just stay put with those bottom third round picks. Who knows? I mean, in my dream world scenario, this is if the 49ers are ballsy and trade up to a high pick in the second round or bottom of the first. They get a guy like DeJuan Jones. Who's just a freak of nature. That would be an amazing to plug in at right tackle, but I don't think they're going to go that route. But one can dream, right?
So me personally, we need right tackle. Yes, we do. But I have a feeling with the guys we got on the squad, there's somebody who can play right tackle for us. I think getting a good tight end, I've been really beating the table on this, but getting a good tight end to do our 22 personnel with, I think is monumental. If we could, I brought this up with Grant on a show. If we can come out and 22 personnel, pound the ball on them, right? Don't make any adjustments. Just pound the ball on them. And then once we know the defensive line's gassed, then we spread all our guys out. And you start getting all these tired. You might even have a defensive lineman on a tight end because they're trying to bulk up, stop the run game. So once you do that, now you put all these big guys out on an island with all our options. Yeah, I think that's deadly because unless they want to call a timeout, they can't substitute if we don't substitute. So essentially you can keep their same guys on the field. One thing I think it was Grant. He was talking about Hargrave saying how he, his run blocking isn't very good. And I said, yeah, it's scary too because
his run defense.
His run defense. And sorry, I'm a little preoccupied at the moment. He was saying, it was kind of skeptical about his run blocking, and he's like, maybe he's a third down back, and I'm like, you don't just get to go, oh, it's third down, here's a guy, you know what I mean? You don't always get to do that. If somebody wants to, they can go no huddle, get up on the line when they know it's third and long. Now we can run it because Hargrave's in it, and we can just run at that guy all day long because he's in here. They can't make corrections. So there's things we can do, and there's things other teams can do with their tempo and with their substitutions to maximize their play on the field. And that's something I think a tight end could help Kyle do.
Which tight end do you have in mind, or do you have multiple tight ends in mind?
Well, I want Sam Laporta, but that's not happening.
He's a beast, dude.
He's a beast.
2.0, right?
And I'm not saying he's going to be Kittle 2.0, But what I need is somebody who can block, and he can definitely do that. And he can catch also. But even if he wasn't as good of a receiver in the NFL, he would still be a good enough threat that they'd have to figure him out. You know what I mean? They'd have to do something to always keep an eye on him. So, yeah, I want a big, tall, strong guy. I wouldn't mind somebody like there's guys out there who aren't necessarily great blockers like Kittle. And I'm okay with that. Just don't assign them to block somebody all by themselves.
Yeah. Supposedly, on I remember Larry Krueger put out a tweet once after the Eagles lost a few days later, and he's like, "Well, just to let you guys know, this is a scouting report of Tyler Croft," and it said something like, aggressive blocker, blah 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 blah, and it was like the highlight of the scouting report was that he's this good blocker, but I mean, when you're going up against one of the top pass rushers in the league, it is what it is. It just, it's just, that's not a good matchup on paper. That's all.
Dude, it looks like he's got like 40 pounds on him. You know what I'm saying? Like Croft wasn't winning that. That's why I said when I watched that film today, he held on to him for longer than he should have. You know what I'm saying? Like he did a pretty good job. You know what I mean? He kept with him. He didn't just fall down. He tried every ounce he could. And I felt bad for, if I don't remember saying stuff, but if I had, I feel bad for saying stuff about him because he gave his 100%.
Though. I want to see. I didn't see this clip because.
Well, you should have watched it. I dropped the links in the thing so you could all be prepared.
I saw it. I saw the link pop up, but I didn't get to click on it. But what I do remember I just clicked on a video on my phone about 10 minutes ago to see that play over again. And the video I saw looked like he only blocked him for literally 1 second, and then the rest was just hard. He just broke off him hella fast, and that was it.
So
quarterback.
He blocks him. I believe McGlinchey comes in also and gets tossed right at the end. So it's like it was, you know what I'm saying? Like the moment McGlinchey comes in to try and save the day and gets tossed, like how can you be mad at Croft for anything? Like literally, like he didn't get tossed, not like in the divisional game with the Cowboys, but he got put on his butt with a move, like just with an arm swipe. He got put on his butt. It wasn't as bad.
I was forgetting the guy's name. Hassan Reddick. That was the one at the quarter that caused the injury. And whenever you count on McGlinchey to save the day in those types of situations, good luck. Just like Rancone said, I'm surprised that the Broncos paid him all that money. So he's going to be their problem now, not ours.
Yeah. Did you see Larry Krueger's take on why the 49ers will trade Trey Lance?
I saw that. Oh, yes. I definitely watched the video. I saw the other video where it was, I believe Larry Krueger was on Jesse Naylor's show. Shout out to Jesse Naylor and Larry Krueger. And, Larry Krueger had his debate for why he thinks 49ers will trade Trey. And Jesse had his debate for why he thinks the 49ers will keep Trey and why it's good to develop him. And then, of course, there was that video, the singular video, where Larry's like, hey, guys, look, I'm not hating on Trey Lance, because there was that gigantic backlash on Twitter like, oh, F Larry Krueger, he's a Trey Lance hater, blah, 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 and all that was going on. So it was interesting. Yeah, I definitely saw it.
Yeah, I thought his whole reasoning was a little flawed. Because the 49ers love Trey. That's why they're going to trade him. And
what a plot twist.
Well, look, we know the 49ers try to do right by players, right? And I think that's a very good way to go about things, is to try and, if you're going to be in these situations, take care of the guys, make sure you're not just throwing them to a trash team. Like Django, when he's like, go down there and sell them cheap. You know what I mean? Because he wants to just make sure that, Django gets run into the ground. And that's kind of what I feel some teams do. They don't care. They're just going to send you over there. you're going to have to get run into the ground. That's your take. So I think he's just tripping. Like, how are you going to turn around and take 3 firsts and a third and just trade it away for a second because you like him? It doesn't make sense to me.
Well, the problem with what Larry's doing is he's not bringing up the possibility of Brock possibly coming back till it's week 4 or week 5. It's almost like he's overlooking the fact that Brock's not even going to be ready by week 1. It's like, okay, we'll just get rid of Trey and start the season with Brock Purdy. Like, no, we don't know when Brock's going to come back, and we don't know how good he'll be when he comes back, to be fair, right?
Yeah. Hello?
I'm here. I told you, I think I said in the private chat that my feed's acting weird and I was going to leave and come right back. If it's tripping like that, I'll do that.
Oh, okay. Like, I was like, you just stopped?
Let me do that. I'll be right back.
All right. Let's see. I just don't think, like, if the 49ers are really going to like trade away because they love him so much, why wouldn't they try to like figure out what to do with him while he's here? I know they say they don't have time to work with him.
It's BS.
But yeah, like, I think Kyle, one thing JT O'Sullivan said, which I got to go back and look at, is he's pretty much saying like Kyle only runs like 2 or 3 passing schemes. So, like, to me, if that's the case, that's probably why Kyle's got to get rid of Trey. It's because he can't let the league know that this offensive genius only knows 3 passing schemes and can apply them in his offense. What's your thoughts?
It sounds weird. So, I mean, so he's basically saying that Kyle runs a dumbed down quarterback offense.
He's saying that the passing scheme is the exact opposite of the run game.
Okay.
You know, the run game is very, technical
very
and all this stuff.
And we have
very
1,000 ways to run the ball. Yeah.
Exactly. The passing game is not like that.
If that's the case, would it be a hard thing for Trey to be in this offense? And that's how I look at it. I mean,
yeah.
It sounds like a very quarterback-friendly offense.
No, not if any of those routes and those concepts aren't your bread and butter.
Okay.
Which we found, like those routes behind the linebackers and in front of the safeties. Those are his issues. Those have been his issues. And I think that's the reason why they're not like sold on him. Why they don't even want to give him a chance, because I think they feel they can't change the scheme. So whoever they get has to be able to do what they want. Which, if this is the case, you had a pro day. He did a second pro day just so you could watch him, right? So why didn't you go be like, hey, I need to see all these throws? You know what I mean? Like,
supposedly they fell in love with him the first and second time they met him. I don't get it. None of this makes any sense to me.
So you fall in love with him, but you don't want him on your team. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I mean, I do understand the thing with the hot hand, and I know a lot of NFL coaches are like that. We're like, oh, hey, well, we were going to try to develop this guy, but oh, look, hey, he's just a hot hand, and he won us these games. I totally understand that part with Purdy, how people jumped on the Purdy bandwagon, but I mean, well, back to Kruger. Kruger's explained it multiple times that he thinks NFL teams should all have this philosophy, basically. And he thinks most NFL teams do have this philosophy where your ultimate goal is to win the Super Bowl as a GM, so to speak. And it doesn't matter how many picks you may invest into a certain position group. And if you find that one player in that same position group from another pick or from a trade or whatever, and that's who you go with, it doesn't matter if you invested But we're not talking a normal investment here at the same time either. I mean, we are talking first round. Those capitals mean all that heavy capital. Those first round picks mean a whole lot to this team, especially if you're a team first guy and you're not player first guy. You're gonna be like, whoa! Like I remember you were saying it on the NWO thing when we had that big discussion, that heated discussion, about how important it was. Like, we could have done something with those picks, right? We could have gotten some some big time offensive line talent, or some pass rusher type talent, or a defensive back type talent. Who knows? But I mean, to just drop those picks off and say, oh well, we don't have the time to make this work because we found this guy. I mean,
and we don't know if this guy is the answer. We see things in him that remind us of the old guy. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm like, hey, pump the brakes. It sounds like you want to give him the bag. Thank God he's not a free agent next year. Oh my God.
I'm glad we didn't jump the gun and give him the bag right away. I was thinking they might do that.
God. To me, I'm just like, pump the brakes. Let's figure it out. I'm not saying I don't like Purdy. I love Purdy for everything he did for this team this season. I'm not saying he can't be our quarterback of the future. I'm saying I don't know. There's things that he got a lot of lucky things went his way many times.
A lot of dropping interceptions, right?
At least once a game. There was, like, if I can't remember who I was speaking with, and I was like, if the defensive coordinators tell their linebacker to just be a foot over, a foot or two over, a lot of those plays would have been picked off. It's just they weren't able to totally get there and get behind of it. A lot of them just got their hands on it. But there was times it should have been picked off. And that was one of our big concerns about Jimmy, is that he would drop back, we'd see his happy feet, and then he'd throw an interception. Brock Purdy doesn't have happy feet, but all of a sudden he lets it rip, and then you're like, oh, that could have been an interception.
People were saying that sometimes Purdy kind of holds on to the ball a little too long, where certain people are open, and then he's just running around, and not saying that he's terrible or anything like that, but I mean, for people to act like he's a complete finished product, and we found the next Tom Brady, it's like, slow down. We still don't know what we really have in the guy. Like, we just, especially with this injury thing, that's a huge factor in his development. The best thing for this team is to hold on to Lance, hold on to Trey, find out what you have in both guys. Let the best man win. I think it's a great situation for a team with the roster that we have. If you're going to let these guys compete, hey, let them compete. I'm okay with that. Even as much as a big Trey guy I am, and I wanted Trey to be the franchise guy for the next 10 to 15 years. If Trey has all the opportunities in the world to win the job, and just as many opportunities as Brock does, and they both battle it out, and Brock 100% shows that he's a clear-cut winner, I'm not going to cry about it. And assuming that Brock is a legit franchise quarterback at that point.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Corey Davis real quick.
What up, Corey?
Corey Lockdown Davis has a channel. Please make sure you go out, like him, subscribe to his channel. Every Thursday, he has a trivia show at 8 o'clock at night. So you can come in, do some 49er trivia. He will keep record, and he will let you know your score on the Sunday game. Also, I'm in the works of making him a website too, where people can go and look to see who's winning at any point in time. So, go check out Corey.
What up, Corey?
Oh, all right. Let's go. JT O'Sullivan. Let's see.
Yeah, I noticed a lot of Niner fans on Twitter were just, had all this hate for Larry. I felt bad for the guy too, because Larry's a good guy, and he's been in the business for a long, long time. If you didn't grow up in the Bay Area, he's been a mainstay on the 49ers flagship radio station KMBR for many years. He talked a lot of Niner football on there early 90s until recently when he got let go of KMR. Then he moved on to 95.7 The Game, the other big Bay Area radio sports station. So, Larry Krueger's not just some guy who just jumped on YouTube last year. We obviously knew
No,
about him.
but with the way he's pounding the pavement about this, you think he could at least have a source, which he doesn't. You know what I mean?
He's
Like,
going by what he thinks, and he even said it was his opinion in that
right.
small video too. Yeah, but some people are taking it when they saw the tweet. They are taking it as if he knows something. He may know some. He thinks he knows something that other people don't, or something. Or
Well, to me, why are you going all in 100% on something where you could just as easily say, I think this is a possibility. You know why? Because it's not sensational enough. I think it's sad that we've got to the time that. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to say, I was just thinking about Trey Lance. I mean, I know it's like in the discussions when it comes to pros and cons of the players. Like, I'm not saying Trey Lance is Joe Montana or whatever with the underneath stuff, but at the same time, like, people talk about Trey like he's just this terrible quarterback at throwing the underneath stuff, and he would never ever fit into our team and be a good NFL quarterback. It's like you haven't seen enough of him to make that clear cut decision just yet.
Yeah, I don't get it. To me, I think it's all just for sensationalism. To me, there's no reason where you would have to act like there's no other truth out there with something that's just an opinion like this. To me, I think he's just looking for views. And that's what this whole thing is. It's the off season. He's looking for attention. I don't what like if you don't have any inside information and this doesn't happen, then you look like an idiot, right? Unless any publicity is good publicity.
With certain people there, that's pretty much it. I mean, you can look at guys like Grant Cohn, a whole bunch of other dudes who are content creators or bigger name type content creators, and sure, people have hot takes from time to time, and it's almost or Stephen A. Smith, guys like him, like the show just goes on, and they just go about their day,
Remember,
what's up, Mariah? See you.
Oh, what up, Mariah? Hey, Mariah, whose channel the show on tomorrow? I just wondered.
Hey, Mariah.
Yes. Did you see that shirt? Oh my gosh, me and Mariah go back like, was it? Can't remember the word. Yes, goats pacifier. There we go. I knew they changed up one word, and I was like, "That's awesome," and then I forgot it.
You know what? If I have a chance to watch it, I will watch it maybe later tonight or tomorrow. I had Larry Krueger on my show when obviously Trey Lance was still on the team, and way before we had even drafted Brock Purdy, was like 2 months or 1 month leading up to the draft. So I'm curious to see what Krueger said on my show in regards to Trey Lance way back then. I might want to go pull that up and just see what he had to say back then.
Remember when Grant was talking about trade Kittle?
I do. Yes, I do.
Remember what his narrative was? The 49ers should trade Kittle. Now, the reason, and he laid out the groundwork. He did all that. The difference is you got Larry Krueger saying they're going to trade him. It's not they should trade him, because I think he feels that would hurt him more if he picked a side. He's trying to be like a prophet with the all-seeing eye. You know what I mean? He's got the magic ball. That's what he's trying to sound like. And to me, I think that's worse. I would rather make a case for why somebody should be traded than to go out and say with essentially all, just saying stuff that's you don't know, like it's 100% and believe in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you. Sometimes people just want to be the first to say what they think might happen and be like, and when it does happen, it's like, hey, look, it happened. Who said it first? You heard it here first, you know? And then if it doesn't happen, they'll be like, okay, whatever, I move on from it. And they try to think about it. I don't know. Maybe that's what it is.
Right, if it's Beto's, then it's Beto's. That's no problem. I hadn't created the thing yet. I couldn't remember whose channel we were on last week. So that's why I was like, I hadn't gone back to look yet. I was going to do that today. Till I fell down the stairs, broke a rib. Then I was like, okay, let's go back up and sit in the chair. So I've been here since then. Just chilling. Ted showed up early. He's like, wow, you're all ready to go? I was like, yeah, busted my rib. He's like, oh, you sure you want to do this thing? I was like, I've been in the lobby for 30 minutes already, just waiting, bro. Like, let's just get it going. So one thing I got going on, we're doing a little what's worse. Okay, I'm gonna give you these scenarios and you tell me which one's worse. Kind of, tell me what you think about them too. What's worse, Trey Lance being a bust or Trey Lance being an MVP for another team? Or you say a success.
Okay, I got you. And so basically you're saying Trey Lance is the bust. We give him the keys to the car, and he ends up being the bust for the 49ers. I'd say it's worse for Trey Lance to be a bust with the 49ers, and we give him the keys to the car. And I'd be happy, as much as I'd hate it that he wasn't good for the 49ers, I would be happy for the guy because I like Trey Lance, that he was good with another team. And I'm assuming that we have Brock Purdy at the same time and he's good for us. But worst case scenario is obviously we get rid of, I don't know if you get rid of Trey Lance and then Purdy just lays an egg and then we're totally screwed. But
yeah, no, that's why it's like these don't think about what other scenarios could happen. Just think of these as straight up. Okay. Yeah, I think you're totally right here. I think it's worse. It's worse for the 49ers that Trey Lance does bad on the 49ers than it is for Trey Lance to do good on another team. I think that's totally right. What's worse, Sam Darnold starting or Colton McKivitz?
I'd say Sam Darnold starting is worse for the 49ers and McKivitz. Some people out there think that if you throw in McKivitz, you may not see much of a drop off from Mike McGlinchey. I believe it when Trent Williams was hurt. I forgot what game it was and how many games it was. I'm bad at those details. But McKivitz, when he last stepped in and last played, didn't look too bad. Looked all right. So, yeah, I put my money on McKivitz kind of doing what McGlinchey or Tom Compton may have done. Probably more so. I'd be, less scared of him playing than Darnold as being their starting quarterback. Not that I think Darnold's terrible, but I don't know. I don't want Darnold to start. I want it to be either Trey or second case scenario Purdy.
I was just trying to figure out what that last message you sent me in the private chat was.
Oh yeah, it was from a tweet.
Oh, okay. So what's worse, trading Trey to Minnesota or getting Kirk Cousins in the trade?
Trading Trey to Minnesota or getting Kirk Cousins in a trade. So you're saying that we're doing a straight up trade to Minnesota for Cousins, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
Well, because I think we would have to give up something else, either draft capital or a player.
So trading to Minnesota, yeah, I don't want to see him traded, but he could possibly go there. Or getting Kirk Cousins in a trade. I'd say trading to Minnesota would probably be worse, I guess. How about that?
Yeah, I think so too. I try to make these like, I don't know, like just tough where you have to like really, start sifting through things to figure out what what's really worse, because I think when you start going down a lot of these, there's a lot of things where you're like, well, that's even, that's even, that's even, that's even, that's even, until you get down to the bottom and you're like, okay, that's clearly not a good thing. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Um, see, well, we've almost hit an hour. Um, yeah, what do you got? Is there anything you want to talk about that we might have missed on?
Got a good guest coming out Wednesday. I just don't have to set time in, so I haven't advertised it yet. There's gonna be we're gonna knock it out this week. I've been talking about it for a while. Come from Parts Unknown. It's a wrestling show that I'm doing on my channel. I'm covering old school wrestling, 80s WWF,
Okay.
and early 90s, and some of the early 2000s. So it's gonna be basically focused on more of an old school wrestling technique. They just had WrestleMania this past weekend. George Kittle was involved in it. Actually, I don't know if you caught that.
Yeah. Oh, I heard something behind the scenes. I
Oh,
guess
I didn't hear this. Go ahead.
so I guess he kind of was running through things with the Miz, and then they're like Miz tells him something. He's like, "Look, I don't want to put too much into your head. You're going to be fine, right?" He walks away from him. Somebody goes up to Kittle. He's like, "If you want to really sell it, hit him harder than he expects it." So in other words, they were just training it. So the Miz was, getting used to, how hard he was going to get hit by Kittle. And so the guy's like, the other guy's like, yeah, if you really want to sell it, make sure you hit him harder than you were just hitting him. Because now, he's made a note. He's going to be bracing for that. And if you hit him harder than that, he's not going to be ready for it. You know what I mean? So then it's going to make it look a little bit more reliable. He's like, all right, cool. So he went out there and he shined. That looked really good. And he was even talking about how Pat McAfee, when I saw that, Pat McAfee
I don't
looked
know
like he
what
was
he
a
was
little
thinking
off.
when he did that. I don't know what
For
Pat
Rowe,
McAfee was.
the Miz almost didn't catch him.
Dude, that was super, super ballsy to do that flip off of that pole on the corner of the ring and freaking I no. You paid me money, I'm not doing that flip. No.
He's been wanting to do that since he was a kid. I'm pretty sure he's bought a wrestling ring. Oh, that's another thing. Kittle is is buying a wrestling ring to try and
At his house.
in his barn. Yeah, him in his
Oh,
barn.
I was gonna say the Miz and Kittle remind me of each other so much. It's almost like they're separated at birth or something.
It's hilarious.
Oh, Snoop Doggy Dogg was involved. Did you see that? Did you see Snoop Doggy
Yes,
Dogg? Those are the two things I saw for the whole weekend. I didn't see anything
dude.
else.
When I saw Snoop Dogg drive Rey Mysterio in that orange drop top, I was like, "That's amazing." That they're like, "What? How do you top it? How do you top that?" I
That part I
guess.
didn't catch. I just caught the part where Shane
Oh,
McMahon got hurt himself or some crap, but he legitimately hurt himself and it messed up the script for the match. And all of a sudden, here comes Snoop Doggy Dogg jumping in the ring or whatever.
oh, is that? Oh,
I
that
don't know
was
if you
the
saw
ankle
that.
thing.
I don't know if you saw that.
Yes, if he like messed up his ankle, somebody jumped over him. And they were trying to figure out what was going on, and then like Snoop Dogg just comes in and like hits him. Yeah, no,
Trying to do like the people's elbow on. I think it was on the Miz. I forgot who he did.
yeah. So with that, oh, what was the other thing? Kittle. The other thing that Kittle said. Oh, he's
George Kittle.
when he retires from football, not only will he probably do some WWE stuff, but he wants to be an Olympic curler.
Oh, I remember you talking about that. Yeah, about his
Yeah.
curling ambitions.
Yep.
Yeah, not
And
exciting.
which
Not exciting.
not exciting?
No, curling just I don't know. Not whoever's a hardcore curler out there. Sorry if I'm disrespecting you. Just doesn't do it for me. No.
You know, that's fine. I remember when curling came into the Olympics, I was laughing. And then I started watching it, like you would to make fun of something. And then I realized this is kind of cool. And it's grown on me more so ever since.
I know Vernon Davis was trying to be on the Olympic team, wasn't he? At one point, was he trying to be
Oh,
some curler?
oh, I didn't know that. But with that, I think we'll just sign out for the night. Not too bad for only half the crew.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I want to thank everybody who showed up tonight. Mariah, Bebop, Corey Davis, see Bebop, Bryant, Cope. Did I say that already? Mariah, Darwin's Raven. He's on another show right now. Raphael, David McNiner, Nathan Z. Appreciate you for all showing up. And go check us out on all the stuff we do the rest of this week. And have a wonderful evening.